Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the I Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. So the question for today's video is, what are the most important messages for the viewers at the time they find this video? Had a little brain gap there. What are the most important messages for the viewers at the time they find this video? Whether that's in 2 days of the posting date, 10 months, 2 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Your divine light has brought you here to help you with particular messages in your current situation on your path. So, if you'd like to relax your eyes and take some time to absorb the message, have some stress reduction, take some deep breaths, or if you've got to do the dishes or some other activity, I hope you enjoy the reading while you're doing whatever you're doing. So, the 2 hexagrams that came through for today, the most important messages for you are number 52, keeping still, mountain, and number 36, darkening of the light. So, keeping still, mountain. The image of this hexagram is the mountain, the youngest son of heaven and earth. The male principle is at the top because it strives upward by nature. Now, if you look at both trigrams, the bottom 3 lines, the top line, the third line from the bottom, is a solid yang line, a masculine line. And also the same thing repeats in the upper trigram. The 6th line, the top line in the top trigram, is a masculine line. So that is what means the male principle is at the top, because it strives upward by nature. The female principle is below, since the direction of its movement is downward. Thus there is rest, because the movement has come to its normal end. In its application to humanity, this hexagram turns upon the problem of achieving a quiet heart. It is very difficult to bring quiet to the heart. While Buddhism strives for rest through an ebbing away of all movement in nirvana, the Book of Changes holds that rest is merely a state of polarity that always has movement as its complement. So movement on one side of the coin and rest on the other side of the coin, eternally switching places. Possibly the words of this text embody directions for the practice of yoga. Now, yoga is an internal art. Even if you're doing hatha yoga, you're essentially hatha, sun, moon, ha, sun, tha, moon. You are uniting the masculine and feminine energies through your asanas, your postures, your different bodily positions, connecting your breath and so forth. And the idea is to help you have more peace, more energy stabilization, and more balance between movement and rest, more balance between the feminine energies within you and the masculine energies. You can also apply yoga in terms of sitting meditation or standing meditation or walking meditation. It's all about the balance of feminine and masculine and going within. The judgment, keeping still, keeping his body back. Keeping his back still so that he no longer feels his body. He goes into his courtyard and does not see his people. No blame. True quiet means keeping still when the time has come to keep still, and going forward when the time has come to go forward. In this way, rest and movement are in agreement with the demands of the time, and thus there is light in life. This hexagram signifies the end and the beginning of all movement. The back is named because in the back are located all the nerve fibers that regulate movement. If the movement of these spinal nerves is brought to a standstill, the ego, with its restlessness, disappears, as it were. When a person has thus become calm, they may turn to the outside world. They no longer see in it the struggle and tumult of individual beings. And therefore, they have that true peace of mind, which is needed for understanding the great laws of the universe and for acting in harmony with these great laws. For whoever acts from these deep levels makes no mistakes. So this is encouraging. The keeping still mountain hexagram is essentially talking about, are you tuning into your inner light? Are you able to go within your wisdom, your divine light, your mountain, your heavenly mountain, and retrieve treasure. If you are, then you can get in tune with these universal laws and be in harmony with them, and you can act from these deep levels and you won't make any mistakes. The image, mountains standing close together, the image of keeping still. Thus, the superior person does not permit their thoughts to go beyond their situation. That sounds very nice. The heart thinks constantly, and this cannot be changed, but the movements of the heart, that is, a person's thoughts, should restrict themselves to the immediate situation. For all thinking that goes beyond the immediate situation only makes the heart sore or pained. So this is the idea of not allowing your thoughts to go beyond your situation. Easier said than done, of course. The image of keeping still is essentially allowing your thoughts to be on the immediate situation, not going into the past, not going into the future. Of course, this is a tricky endeavor, for all thinking that goes beyond the immediate situation only makes the heart sore. So even though the heart thinks constantly, you're not going to stop the heart from thinking or your mind from thinking, but the movements of the heart, that is, your thoughts, should restrict themselves to your immediate situation. You're not going to control your thoughts. They're always going to be there. But at least try to let them rest upon the immediate situation. That's your task. So, 6 in the first place. 6 at the beginning means keeping his toes still. Excuse me, the phone just fell. Keeping his toes still, no blame. Continued perseverance furthers. Keeping the toes still means halting before one has even begun to move. The beginning is the time of few mistakes. At the beginning, a person is still in harmony with their primal innocence, and they're not yet influenced by obscuring interests and desires. For one sees things intuitively as they really are in the beginning. A person who halts at the beginning, so long as this person has not yet abandoned truth, will find the right way. But persisting firmness is needed to keep this person from drifting irresolutely, indecisively, without the backbone. So you have to be persisting in your firmness if you're willing to do this process of halting at the beginning. You have to also retain your connection with truth, of course. So this is hinting at this idea that seems to echo in my own mind of seek ye first the kingdom of God and all else shall be added unto you. So of keeping still, keeping the toes still, halting before you've even begun to move. You're seeking this inner power, this inner connection, this inner guidance, wisdom, the kingdom of heaven. And this is a time of few mistakes because if you're able to do so, make this connection with these divine forces within you, you'll be in harmony with your primal innocence. You won't be influenced by confusing or obscuring desires or interests, and you'll see things intuitively as they really are. This is a wonderful process. So let's say you're beginning something. You're thinking about beginning a new project. You're thinking about going out of the house and going to the supermarket. You're thinking about going and meeting someone, having a phone call with someone. These are all beginnings of sorts. If you take a little pause and take 2 or 3 breaths before you have this beginning and go within, take a little check-in time for yourself and halt and make this connection with your inner divine light, then you'll have this good fortune. You will connect to truth and your intuition, and you will be resolute in harmony and connection with your primal innocence. And essentially, you will keep your mind in the right place, focused on retrieving that divine light within yourself first before starting your new beginning. The second changing line, 9 at the top. Here we go. 9 at the top. Noble-hearted, keeping still, good fortune. This marks the consummation of the effort to attain tranquility. That sounds good. One is at rest, not merely in a small, circumscribed way in regard to matters of detail, but a person has also a general resignation in regard to life as a whole. And this gives peace and good fortune in relation to every individual matter. So this is a wonderful topic. This is the highest line in the hexagram, the ruler. And this talks about the consummation of the effort to attain tranquility. So you are attaining deep and progressive and consistent tranquility here. You're not it's not that you're not able to attend to the details of situations, but you have a general resignation, which means you're not attached to trying to control how things work themselves out. You have this universal trust in the good, the divine light within you that is in charge of everything. And this gives you the peace and good fortune in every part of your life for every particular situation. So this general resignation, this ability to detach and not be so consumed with being in charge of how things unfold or worried about how this, that, or the other thing occurs, the details of life. This tranquility allows you to subscribe, to enter into, to unite with this strong power within you, the tranquility, the keeping still the mountain, the tranquility of your inner being, the tranquility of your inner being that allows you to have this wonderful experience of trust that gives you peace and good fortune. For you know through this experience of tranquility that as you stay in this tranquility, everything works out for good. So here we have a lesson of connection with your tranquility. And if you can connect over and over and over again with this tranquility and make that paramount in your process, then you can begin to let go of the concern, the worry, and the attempt to orchestrate everything in your life. So the second hexagram, darkening of the light. Oh, doesn't that sound quite delightful? Darkening of the light. Here we go. Here the sun has sunk under the earth and is therefore darkened. The receptive earth is the top trigram, kun, and Li, the bottom trigram, is the clinging fire. So fire in the earth or under the earth. The name of the hexagram means literally wounding of the bright. Wounding of the bright. Hence the individual lines contain frequent references to wounding. The situation is the exact opposite of that in the preceding hexagram. And the preceding hexagram is the inverse of this, where the fire is on top and the earth is below. That is called progress. Chin, number 35. But here we have number 36, darkening of the light. So it's the opposite of progress. In progress, a wise man at the head of affairs has able helpers, and in the company of these helpers makes progress. And in this hexagram, darkening of the light, a man of dark nature is in a position of authority and brings harm to the wise and able man. Now, the pronouns are interchangeable, man, woman. The text says man, though. So if you're a woman, you can think that maybe there's a man of dark nature in a position of authority, but it could also be a woman of dark nature who's in a position of authority and brings harm to the wise and able man or woman, whoever you happen to be. The judgment, darkening of the light. In adversity, it furthers you to be persevering. A person must not unresistingly let themselves be swept along by unfavorable circumstances, nor permit their steadfastness to be shaken. A person can avoid this by maintaining their inner light, while remaining outwardly yielding and tractable. Tractable being flexible, easy to deal with. So you want to maintain your inner light, and in your relations with others, be flexible, easy to deal with, and yielding. Don't be stubborn and inflexible. With this attitude, you can overcome even the greatest adversities. The question is, can you be yielding? And can you be flexible and easy to deal with? Hopefully so. In some situations, indeed, a person must hide their light in order to make their will prevail in spite of difficulties in the immediate environment. So here we have the idea that, hey, in certain circumstances, you might actually need to hide your light in order to make your will prevail, because you have to kind of keep things under wraps. The time is not yet right to make those ideas known. Perseverance must dwell in innermost consciousness and should not be discernible, seen, or understood from outside by others. Only thus is a person able to maintain their will in the face of difficulties. So here we have an idea that you're in a situation, darkening of the light, in which you may need to hide your light in order to make your will prevail, because the situation that you find yourself in, your current situation, requires this. You shouldn't let everything be seen. You have to kind of keep things under wraps a little bit. Doesn't mean that you can't shine, but you kind of have to hide it a little bit so that you can allow your will to prevail, because right now you're not being assisted on every level. The image, the light has sunk into the earth, the image of darkening of the light. Thus does the superior person live with the great mass of humanity. The superior person veils their light, yet they still shine. In a time of darkness, it is essential to be cautious and reserved. And this is a time of darkness that you find yourself in. So it's essential to be cautious and reserved. A person should not needlessly awaken overwhelming enmity, hostility, by inconsiderate behavior. So you don't want to awaken other people's anger and hostility by being inconsiderate toward them. This is not the right time to do that. In such times, a person should not fall in with the practices of others as well. Neither should a person drag others censoriously into the light. Censoriously is extremely critically. So you're going to drag them into light and criticize them for their faults and errors. Well, you're doing this, you're doing that. And this is not the time for you to do this. Just hold off on that. In social intercourse and interactions, you should not try to be all-knowing. You should let many things pass without being fooled. So let's recap a little about darkening of the light. The circumstance is such that the forces that are in your immediate situation are not the most positive. Perhaps the people in your interactions right now are not as supportive as we might like them to be. And there may be a person who is of a dark nature, who is in a position of authority, and will try to bring harm to the wise and able person. The wise and able person is you. Okay? You have to protect yourself from this person of dark nature. Now, this could be a real person, a human. It could be a situation, okay, a negative situation that has a dark nature to it. It could be a spirit, a negative, dark spirit that's trying to influence you. That's a possibility too. Wherever this being of dark nature comes from, They're trying to bring harm to you, the wise and able person. But even so, even though you're in a time of darkness or adversity, it's important for you to not let yourself be swept along by these unfavorable circumstances. Just like the top or the beginning hexagram talks about the idea of getting in tune with your inner light, your tranquility, stopping at the beginning so that you can connect with that inner light, that wisdom, that tranquility, so that the actions that you take are in alignment with that energy field and you have success. That's one side of the coin you need to be aware of. And the other side of the coin is that you need to be aware of that in this situation you find yourself in, there may be this dark-natured person or being that's trying to cover you, okay? It's an unfavorable circumstance. I don't know how developed it is, but you have to be aware that this is likely the case. So don't let yourself be shaken by this. Your steadfastness and means your ability to do what is right unceasingly. So continue to do what's right and maintain your inner light, just like in keeping still the mountain, going within, connecting with that divine inner light. In your relations and interactions with others at this time, it's very important for you to remain yielding and easy to deal with. Don't fight with others right now. This is not favorable for you. For if you can keep yourself yielding and easy to deal with, then you can overcome even the greatest adversities, such as darkening of the light. And in this situation, you likely need to hide your light. You'll still shine, but you need to hide it somewhat so that you don't create some sort of difficulty. Don't let all of your ideas out. You might have some fantastic ideas right now, but it's important for you to kind of keep those under wraps right now. Okay? You have a will, an idea, something that you want to pursue, but to make that will prevail, you have to hide your light, not reveal everything, okay? And you have to be persevering. Perseverance must dwell in your innermost consciousness. So you can't stop persevering. You have to continue. Don't give up. This is just a time and it will pass. And this perseverance should be a hidden thing. It shouldn't be understood or discernible from outside. If you can do this, hide your light, let your will prevail, be persevering, remain outwardly yielding and tractable or flexible, easy to deal with in terms of your interactions with others, then you will maintain your will in the face of difficulties and you'll get through this time. So veiling your light, yet you still shine. So it's very important for you to veil your light and be cautious and reserved. And try not to say things or do things that are going to awaken a lot of enmity or hostility in others. Don't be inconsiderate in your behavior. Not good right now. So, and don't fall in with the practices of others. Let's say others are doing things that are they're being hostile, they're being inconsiderate. Let them do their thing, but don't be like them. Don't let yourself be dragged into that. And nor should you let yourself drag others very critically into the light. You know, censoriously, I'm just going to define that for you. Censoriously is to be critical, to be fond of criticism, rigidly, severely. So dragging others censoriously into the light is to drag them rigidly, severely, and critically into the light. You find the faults with them, you find their errors, and you point them out in a very public way. Don't do that right now. Let them do their thing, and you do your thing, and don't be like them. Okay? Maintain your inner light. And your interactions, don't try to be all-knowing. Don't try to come across like you know everything. That's not going to get it right now. And make sure to follow this one. Let many things slide. Let many things pass without being fooled. Okay, you're going to see things that are not going to be so cool or so favorable, but just let them pass. You're not going to get fooled. So darkening of the light on the other side of the coin, a situation that's not particularly favorable, but it helps you to practice this restraint, this ability to interact with others in a yielding and flexible and easy to deal with way, not creating situations where you're going to be inconsiderate to others. You're not going to be like others. Maybe they're being inconsiderate. Maybe they're not being courteous. You're not going to be like them now. And you're not going to be all-knowing. You're going to let a lot of stuff pass without calling people on their stuff. You're not going to be fooled, though, in the process. So these two hexagrams go together very nicely, keeping still the mountain, getting in tune with your inner light, your tranquility, stopping at the beginning to make that strong connection. Therefore, all the energy flows positively for you. Seeking the kingdom of God first, and all else is added unto you. And in the process of darkening of light, I've already described all of this stuff. Be aware that there may be someone, a being, a human of dark nature, who may be trying to bring harm to you, the wise and able person. And this person may be in a position of authority, but you're not here to fight this person right now, okay? You're not going to be swept along by the unfavorable circumstances. You're not going to permit your steadfastness, your ability to constantly do what's right, to be shaken. But you have to, in this circumstance, hide your light a little bit. Hide your will a little bit. Okay? Those are the messages that I have. I hope it helps. I would listen to this again at least once or twice more. And honestly, rather than listening to a new reading every single day, if you find a reading that really speaks to you, I would strongly encourage you to listen to that reading every day for a week or 10 days and try to really apply the topics into your life. See how much you can incorporate these ideas into your life. Because if you're able to do that, rather than flitting from one reading to another, you barely absorb anything if you do that. If you get a new reading every day, it's likely you're not going to be able to absorb the information fully and integrate it into your behavior. But if you take a week or 10 days and really apply a reading that really resonates to you, you're going to have such a wonderful experience, I believe. Just my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.